Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, and as you can see, we're ending up with a Spectral Duke deck profile, completing our first 3 deck profiles on the channel with a V Premium deck. So this is my personal Spectral Duke list that I've been using the last few months, and we'll get right into it. Starting us off with 4 copies of Spectral Duke. You know him, you love him. He's a guy that wants to be Force basically, because if you have the grade 2 Vortimer in Soul, he gains 1000 power, and if you have an opponent with a grade 3 or more, he gains a crit. So he gains those Force base power lines and that Force 2 power gain. But it doesn't end there. He has the ability for once per turn you can Counterblast 1 and you can retire 3 units, preferably your Vortimers, and restand your Vanguard. He does lose 1 drive if you're on less than 3 damage, but if you're on 4 or more, he gains a drive check. So he's pretty amazing. What's also amazing is 4 copies of Percival. Now of course you barely ride into him ever, but his static ability of giving your Excel markers, which is usually Excel 2, an additional +5 is pretty handy. Also, you can use his auto ability, Vanguard and Rearguard, to Counterblast 1 and discard something, preferably Agloveil, to gain an additional XL2, so you get that draw, plus you can call Agloveil from your deck or drop zone, meaning you can have additional Rearguard circles and multi-attack and benefit from them. Running off our grade 3s, we have full Spectral Dragon. So he has the act ability to Soul Blast 1, which works with your Spectral Duke's retire ability, since you want to put Vortimers into the Soul, which you can then Soul Blast out again, or the units that you put into the Soul with Agloveil's ability. He gives your Vanguard a +5 for the rest of the turn and calls you something. That's what I call value. Now I already alluded to it, but we are playing 4 copies of the Black Dragon Knight Vortimer. He has the same ability as the Spectral Duke, that if you have the grade 1 Vortimer, so Spectral Duke 1 at the grade 2, this one wants the grade 1, he gets an additional 1000 power, making him a 10k grade 2 unit again. And when Spectral Duke rides upon him, you can check the top 5 to Superior Call. Now that's already an amazing ability to get that Field Swarm in the early game, but you can also have the ability that when he's retired for any ability, that you can put him into the Soul and countercharge 1. Now, that's a unit to my heart, but who's more to my heart is my boy, Oath Liberator Agloveil. So he has the Vanguard ability, Counterblast 1 and check the top 3 to Superior Call any unit, which does end up being helpful from time to time, especially if you want to get your Vortimers out, if you don't get them into your opening hand. And his second ability is if you have him on Rearguard, you can put one of your units into the Soul, your other Rearguards of course, and he gains an additional 10k power, making him a pretty good beat stick, and even better, he bounces back to the hand, meaning if you end up against something that's retire heavy or blocks, you can just get rid of your field. Next up, for our last spot, we have the ever trusty Kaiden. He has the Rearguard ability when he's placed to Counterblast 1 and discard something, to check the top 3 and Superior Call it. And if you have Hoel, he gets an additional draw. The last one for our Vortimers is the grade 1 Vortimer, which is when he is placed on the Vanguard circle, you can check your top 7 for the grade 2 or grade 3 Spectral Duke Vortimer, whichever one, and you can add it to your hand. Also, when he is retired, you can, like the grade 2, instead of giving a counter charge, he gives +5k to your Vanguard, making him pretty handy for that Rearguard swing attack. Then of course we have our ever trusty Hoel. If you place the unit in front of him or behind him, as long as it was placed this turn, it gains an additional +5. If you have Kaiden there, it's an additional +10. So Kaiden can be on any other circle, as long as he's on the field, he makes that +5 into a +10. Lastly, it's the only one that you can actually put in as a wiggle slot is the Din Drain. You have the soul to pay for it. You can use the counter charge from time to time, but it's, you know, possible to slot this out for any other unit that you want. You could want your grade 3 searchers, but I found that Din Drain can come in handy. That's why she's still here. Now lastly, we have our triggers, and it shouldn't be a surprise, but this is crit centric all the way. Your 4 heals, which may turn into heal guardians, depending on what the playtesting dictates, and lastly your draw PGs. This does mean that you do tend to run the risk of decking out, but I found that that PG can just sometimes get you out of a pinch. So at the moment I prefer the draw PGs over the Sentinel crits, but you know, there might be a time where those crits might be the more valuable decision. Now that's all from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, let me know in the comments if you want to see something else. And of course, I'll see you guys next time. Stay radiant, bye bye.